So, welcome back to Self-Editing for Writers. Now, in this video, I'm going to run you through what editing actually means and give you a brief overview of the three main types of editing. I'm going to start, though, by busting a myth. A lot of people come to me saying, I need my work edited. My response is to ask what level of editing they need or what type of editing they need. Now, there are two answers to that. The first answer I typically get is, there are different types of editing. I just want my work edited. And the second type of response is, just spelling and grammar, editing, typos, just editing. Now, to address the latter response first, just spelling and grammar is actually proofreading, or at most it might be a light copy edit. And this is actually one of the last things that we're going to do, particularly when your work hasn't gone through the earlier stages. So, what are the three stages of editing? First one is the big picture edit, and it's known as structural editing, and sometimes you might hear it referred to as developmental editing. The second stage is copy and line editing, and the third and final stage of editing is your proofread. So at first, trying to wrap your head around these different stages can be really, really confusing. They do cross over in a couple of aspects. So this is why we'll be going through them at your pace in the course. But for now, I'm going to use a bit of a cake analogy instead, because we all love cake and we all understand cake, right? So let's just say you're making a cake for your child's birthday. It's a big fancy cake, not the standard shape, lots of decorations, you've got to cut out little bits and so on. So the first thing that we're going to do is assess the cake itself, even back as far as the recipe. Is the cake going to be big enough for what we need to do? Is it solid enough? Did you include all the ingredients? Are there lumpy sections in the cake or mushy ones or gaps or bits that look funny? Is it fit for purpose? Will the cake make people happy? And is the cake ready to be decorated? So all of that, that's the structural edit of the cake. So like a cake, we need to make sure at this stage that your manuscript is going to work for the purpose or for the audience. Now, once we know that the cake is pretty right, we're going to move on to decorating it. Now, we might need to trim away some areas to produce the correct shape. We might need to move or add some sections. We might need to take a look at the cake. Will people actually understand it? Will they know what it is? Does it look the way you want it to look? As we're decorating it, we're also asking, is there something that needs to be added here or adjusted or removed to improve the overall impact of the cake? And finally, have you done everything you need to do prior to serving it? So all of that, that's the copy and line edit of our cake. We're finessing the details and making sure they all send the right message. And then finally, it's just about time to serve the cake, to take it out to the critical eyes of the party guests. It's too late to make big changes now, but you can fix that little bit of icing that broke off, and you can check it from all angles to make sure it looks as perfect as it can, and that you haven't missed any little details. This is the proofreading of your cake, the final once over to make sure that it's exactly the way you want it to be and as free as possible from errors. So there are the three types of editing: structural, copy and line editing, and proofreading, all parcelled up in a takeaway cake box for you. Now, the next three videos will go into these three types of editing in a little more detail without cake. And then in the course, we will be doing a deep dive into the ins and outs and tips and tricks of each editing stage. I'm really looking forward to you joining me there.